7 behavior changes most people never notice. Let me tell you about the moment I stopped trusting my own read on people. I was sitting across from someone I had known for 2 years. They told me everything was fine. They were smiling, relaxed, saying all the right things. But when I walked away, something felt wrong. Not dramatic, not obvious, just a quiet tension in my chest. The feeling that something did not line up, even though I could not explain why. 3 weeks later, I found out what I had been sensing, and what stayed with me was this. The signs were not hidden. I simply did not understand what I was seeing. Now, I want to be careful here, because a lot of body language content makes promises it cannot support. You cannot look at one gesture and know someone is lying. A crossed arm is not a confession. A nervous movement is not proof of guilt. And anyone claiming they can expose every liar in 3 seconds is selling certainty that does not exist. But behavior can reveal something quieter and often more useful. It can show you the moment a conversation changes, the moment a subject becomes more emotionally important, the moment someone begins thinking harder, managing a reaction, or becoming uncomfortable. That shift does not tell you why. It tells you where to pay attention. Welcome to Wonder Jenny and the Robot. This is Case File 12, 7 Behavior Changes. Most people never notice. Not proof, not mind reading. Signals that tell you when to slow down and ask a better question. 1. The smile that arrives late. Sometimes a smile appears immediately. Other times there is a short pause before it reaches the face. That delay does not automatically mean the smile is fake. The person may be surprised. They may be deciding how to respond. They may feel uncomfortable and still want to remain polite. But the pause matters because it suggests the response required some management. Imagine telling someone good news. They look at you for half a second and then smile. Do not conclude that they are jealous. Just notice that the emotional response may have been more complicated than the smile alone suggests. The signal is not the smile. It is the gap before it. 2. Where the body begins to lean. People usually manage their facial expression more carefully than the rest of their body. Their feet may angle toward a doorway. Their torso may pull slightly away. Their shoulders may turn towards someone else in the room. This does not prove they dislike you or want to escape. The position could come from comfort, habit, pain, or the layout of the space, but it can show where their attention or movement is beginning to lean. Think of it as directional information, not emotional certainty. Their words may say, "No, keep talking," but their body may suggest that their attention is becoming divided. That is not a reason to confront them. It may simply be a reason to shorten the conversation or check whether they need to leave. 3. A sudden change in blinking. You may have heard that liars blink more. The research is not that simple. Blinking can increase, decrease, or rebound depending on concentration, stress, fatigue, lighting, and the timing of the response. So blinking is not a lie detector. What may be useful is a noticeable change around one specific question. Someone has been blinking normally throughout the conversation. Then you mention one subject, and their blinking pattern shifts. That may indicate mental effort. It may indicate tension. It may indicate surprise. And an honest person can experience all 3. The important question is not, does this prove deception? It is. Why did this part of the conversation require more effort than everything before it? 4. The language becomes less specific. This is one of the more interesting shifts. Sometimes people begin using vague language when a subject feels uncomfortable. Instead of using someone's name, they say, "that woman." Instead of saying, "the office," they say, "that place." Instead of describing what happened, they say, "you know, the situation." That distance in language is not proof of wrongdoing. A person may speak vaguely because they feel embarrassed, overwhelmed, protective, or emotionally detached. but it may tell you that the topic is difficult to name directly. Do not accuse them. Ask a clearer question instead of, "Why are you avoiding the truth?" Try. When you say "that situation," what exactly are you referring to? Specific questions can create clarity without creating a fight. 5. Self-soothing appears after a particular question. Watch the hands. Someone adjusts their watch, touches the back of their neck, fixes their collar, rubs their hands together. These gestures can function as self-soothing, the body attempting to settle itself. But the gesture alone means very little. People touch their necks because they are nervous, tired, warm, uncomfortable, or simply because they have an itch. Timing is what makes the movement worth noticing. If the person has been sitting calmly for 10 minutes, then suddenly begins adjusting and touching themselves immediately after one question, that question may have created tension. Again, tension does not equal guilt. The subject could be painful. They may fear being misunderstood. They may not know how to answer. The movement tells you that the moment landed somewhere. It does not tell you where. 6. An expression appears and disappears. Sometimes an emotion crosses someone's face briefly before they compose themselves. Irritation, fear, surprise, disgust, contempt. These fleeting expressions are often treated online as secret proof of what someone truly believes. That is too confident. A brief expression can reveal that an emotion occurred. It cannot reliably explain the cause. A flash of irritation may be directed at you, or at the question, or at themselves, or at something completely unrelated that crossed their mind. So do not decode a brief expression as the final answer. Treat it as context. Something emotional happened, then it was managed. That may justify curiosity. It does not justify certainty. 7. The baseline changes. This is the signal that makes every other signal useful. You cannot accurately interpret someone from one isolated gesture. Some people naturally blink often. Some avoid eye contact when they are comfortable. Some move constantly when they talk. Some smile when they are anxious. That is why you begin with their baseline. Watch how the person behaves when nothing important is happening. How fast do they speak? How much do they gesture? Where do they normally look? How still or restless are they? What does their face look like when they are relaxed? Then notice what changes when the conversation reaches a meaningful subject. You are not searching for one universal behavior. You are searching for a departure from that person's normal pattern. Maybe their speech becomes slower, their answers become shorter, their hands become still, their smile disappears. Several changes appear at once. Even then, the shift does not prove a lie. It tells you that this moment carries more weight than the others. That is the real skill. Not reading minds, not catching liars, recognizing where the conversation becomes psychologically significant. How to use these signals correctly. Do not learn this information and immediately begin accusing people. One gesture means almost nothing. A person crossing their arms may simply be cold. A delayed smile may come from surprise. A tense face may come from a headache. Even several changes appearing together are not proof of deception. They are an invitation to slow down, listen more carefully, ask a neutral follow-up, give the person room to answer. You might say, "You paused when I mentioned that. What came to mind?" You seem less comfortable with this part of the conversation. Is there something making it difficult to discuss? Can you walk me through that again? Those questions seek understanding. They do not announce a verdict. That distinction matters, because observation without humility turns into suspicion, and suspicion can damage a relationship just as quickly as dishonesty can. Body language is not a confession, it is context. A behavior change cannot tell you exactly what someone is thinking, but it can show you where the conversation deserves more attention. A pause, a shift in movement, a change in language, a a cluster of reactions around one specific subject. That is not the answer. It is the place where a better question begins. I wish I had understood that 2 years earlier, not because it would have made me psychic, because it might have helped me trust the discomfort enough to slow down instead of dismissing it. The goal is not to become suspicious of everyone. The goal is to become more observant without becoming reckless. Notice the shift, stay curious, and never confuse a signal with proof. If this gave you a more honest way to understand behavior, press like. It tells me to continue this series. The next case file examines the questions that help people open up without making them feel interrogated. Subscribe so it reaches you, and tell me in the comments, which of these 7 behavior changes will you begin noticing first? Wonder Jenny and the robot.